It's May 18th, 1596. Two Dutch merchant ships are leaving Amsterdam. The purpose of the voyage is to reach China. At the time, the Dutch don't know very much about this distant and powerful empire, but they do know that traders from Portugal had been earning a great deal of money there. This is the third attempt at the journey by the Dutch explorer Willem Barents. He is determined to find a shorter and safer route to China. 1 month after setting out, in June, the sailors come upon an island where they get into a fight with a polar bear. They name the place Bear Island. Little more than a week later, they reach a previously unknown group of islands. When they try to sail onwards, their way is blocked by ice. They turn back, heading again to Bear Island. At this point, the two captains disagree about the best way to continue on the journey towards China. The two ships and their crew split up and go in different directions. In August, Barents and 16 other sailors reach the Orange Islands, just off the northern tip of Nova Zemlya. As they continue past the Orange Islands, a storm comes. They encounter fog, high winds, and moving ice. The ship is damaged. The crew drops anchor off the east coast of Nova Zemlya. They admit defeat and decide to abandon the expedition. But soon after heading off back to Amsterdam, they discover that the route is cut off by ice. Floating ice completely surrounds the ship and lifts it up out of the water. As the hull begins to crack, the crew scrambles to take their supplies ashore. It soon becomes clear that the ship is completely trapped in the ice. The 17 crew members realize they will have to spend the winter on the island. In September, while still living on board the ship, they begin to build a house from the driftwood they find nearby. As they prepare the shelter, the crew is regularly threatened by hungry polar bears. The bears become even bolder. Some even climb onto the deck of the ship. The men never go anywhere off the ship alone for fear of the animals attacking. The house they are building is small, only about 20 by 33 feet. They construct it like a log cabin. For the upper part, the men pull off planks from the ship's deck. They hammer the planks onto the wooden frame. The men call their shelter the behouden house, or safe house. The sailors defend themselves against the hungry polar bears by throwing things off the ship at them. By the end of October, the safe house is ready, and the crew moves in. They will stay there for almost 8 months. The safe house has a number of bunks against the wall and a fireplace in the middle. A large barrel in the house serves as a steam bath. They have a clock in their home. This was probably taken on the voyage as a diplomatic gift for a Chinese leader. In November, the sun no longer rises above the horizon. There is hardly any light at all during the day. Crew member Gerrit de Veer has been keeping a journal. On December 3rd, he writes that the clock has frozen. From then on, the men use the 12-hour glass to keep track of time. When they are snowed in, this is the only way of knowing whether it is day or night. On top of the safe house is a chimney, which is topped by a wooden barrel. In the event of an attack by polar bears, the men can use the barrel as a lookout post and a safe position from which to shoot the animals. By May, the sea is almost completely free of ice. The crew is eager to leave for home. They are leaving their large vessel behind. They repair 2 small boats and ready them for the journey. At least 2 men, including Willem Barents, are too weak to walk. To get them to the small boats, they are taken on sleds. The sailors make the journey back to Amsterdam by the same route they had come. During the day, floating ice continues to be a great danger. The sailors stop at night and tie the boats to the permanent ice of the coast. On June 20th, Willem Barents dies. His loss is a heavy blow. But the men must continue with little time for mourning. Their own fate still hangs in the balance. At the end of July, the crew spots two small Russian ships off the south coast of Novaya. This is the first time they had seen other people in more than a year. In August, the two small boats reached the island of Kilden. They soon approached the Russian port of Kola, which is familiar to them as it is often visited by Dutch merchants. The men find a ship to take them home. There are 12 survivors. When the expedition's survivors return to Amsterdam in November, they are greeted as heroes. Gerrit de Veer's account of their journey is published a year later. It becomes an international sensation, a bestseller that is read by thousands of people across Europe. It's illustrations from that book that you've been seeing in this animation.